every week since the high was put in for Bitcoin in mid-March of this year at just under $74,000, the high of the week before reversal has always happened on this day, Monday, as we'll go through it. A very bizarre sort of analysis that I'm going to take you through here, but I wanted to kind of follow up on the daily analysis as we have been doing it since Bitcoin has put in the all-time high. We did it for Thursday and Friday for the last couple weeks, and now we're going to do it for Monday, and I think that the results are going to be, well, quite enlightening. Anyways, going into the chart view right in over here, of course, we already went over the Thursday and Friday statistics, but what I wanted to highlight now is all of these red vertical bars, specifically since the all-time high was put in again March 14th, March of 2024, March 14th of 2024. And what I've done is I've highlighted all these red vertical bars for Monday. And as you can see on the chart, while not necessarily Monday has been positive or negative, we have seen some nice pumps on Mondays. What has been very consistent since that all-time high was put in is that Monday has been the high of the week, or essentially around the high of the week, meaning that Bitcoin reversed from there overall. There was one time where this was not necessarily fully true. That was back on over here in March 25th, where, yeah, the high was pretty much around the high of the week, and ultimately things did reverse down from there. But in this case, or in all prior cases, you can see that, yes, that was essentially the high of the week, and did lead on towards some sideways and downside price action. And what do you know? Today is Monday yet again. We do have a nice pumpola going on Monday, all the way up to just north of $63,000. But it's a long day left to go, and more importantly, it's a long week left to go. And as we've been going over in this particular channel, if you are going to be bearish, or the most appropriate time to be bearish has been like the past, I would say like 3 to 4 weeks now, basically a month. Now, bearish, in my opinion, is not necessarily the best word to be using, because I'm not like full on bearish, just not upside, not upside basically. So what am I getting at? What am I trying to say here? Well, this week is very, 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 very important, because if we see this relationship continue, hey, fair enough. Perhaps we're getting ready for lower price action. But if we see this relationship reverse, meaning that Bitcoin does trade higher than Monday, and more importantly, close higher than today's closing, wherever that might close at, that would be an early indication of the flippening of that particular relationship, which would be indicative that Bitcoin is digging itself in trying for the macro higher low here above $60,000. We do have other data that does kind of support that, in the sense that we have been referencing the Bitcoin production cost fundamental chart right in over here. We went over this on a big video yesterday. If you want to check that one out, it's still there for you. But basically, the bottom end of this sort of channel, which has represented the basement price for Bitcoin, is basically down around just below $60,000, suggesting that anywhere around this region is a value area. Again, doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go below that region. Of course it can. Just we wouldn't expect, a significant amount of closures consecutively coming below that region for a prolonged amount of time. So going back to the chart right on over here, I would say that, again, I would stick with what I've been saying for the past couple weeks here, up until about mid-March, which we're almost at mid-March now, that is a time to be bearish in terms of timing. But if bears fail to push to the downside starting this week, by the end of this week, I would say that's a really good indication that Bitcoin is digging in at this region just above $60,000. And while it is boring and it doesn't really feel like too much is happening, important things do happen, of course. And in this case, that would be the next sort of macro higher low. Also, what I think was quite interesting is that despite this, this nice early morning pump coming up just shy of, like $63,500, it is very interesting over here when we look at it from a statistical range that the weekly HPDR showing the 50% level is exactly there. So Bitcoin has found its high there as of right now. So that would actually play more in alignment with the bearish view of this, because again, Monday most likely to be the high of the week. And what do you know? The weekly testing that 50% region right there. Now, if Bitcoin were to start to close above that region, let's call it 63.5 by end of week. Again, another really good indication that Bitcoin's going to be reversing from this region. But until that happens, timing wise, same shit as we've been saying, for the past few weeks. And that, as I've said many times in this video as well, this week, if there is going to be pushed to the downside, this is very likely when it would occur. In the bottom side of the next range low, the 61.8 level is 59,500. which is actually directly in alignment with the bottom side of the Bitcoin production cost lower end of the channel, the basement price. So I did think that that was actually rather interesting here too. Of course, Bitcoin does break down to that level. It doesn't necessarily imply that, you know, we're going to have to see a full-on breakdown, but at least one more week would be kind of necessary to watch. The obvious thing is if we do see closures below 59,500 at that point, we're going to see I shouldn't say we are going to see, what's very likely to happen, what's extremely high probability, is you're going to see a move very likely into the low $50,000 territory. But as of right now, you know, have to kind of respect what's going on the charts. I'm curious what the daily says right here. And yeah, the median's coming in at around 63,900. So basically, as long as the daily's below there, I would say that things are still more or less in limbo in favor in the bears, actually. If Bitcoin can start to close above 63,900 for today especially, that would be very, very much indicative we're actually going to see a move back around about 66.5 to 67,000 bucks. That's the big level for me as we go back on over to this chart right on over here. That's a big level for me because above 67.5, that is when the trend wave does suggest that we have a reversal in our hands. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, 67.5. So probably not going to happen this week. If it is going to happen, that'd be probably earliest next week. So again, in the short term, in the near term, things do see it still favor the bears. Again, weekly tapped the 50% high, just a natural pullback region, and then also Monday, typically the high of the week. So if we see that relationship continue, yeah, if you're bearish, I mean, that was just your chance right there to fucking get in position, right? Anyways, moving on from there, let's go through stochastic momentum, see how things have changed as this new week opened. Weekly time frame for CME has pretty much not changed at all. It's 69,500, the current pivot. 5-day time frame, is that one closing tonight? No, it is not. That one is still at 71,220. 2-day time frame is actually interesting right here as well. 62,200. Very important, I do believe, for the more short term. Elsa, get the fuck out of here. I can't yell that much right now. I'm recording this video later because I have some sort of like sinus bullshit going on. Whatever the fuck that means. I don't know. It doesn't feel good though. It doesn't feel good to swallow. Haha. Anyways, yeah. Okay, so this one's actually rather interesting to me right here. This one does close today, the 2-day time frame, and the 2-day time frame still does have that nice regression governing all of the lows basically since August of last year, 2023. So that was the August lows, the September lows, the January lows of this year, and then, you know, presumably the lows above 60,000 bucks if this one does hold true. Again, on the other side, it does imply if Bitcoin closes below 62,200 today, we're probably going to see this break. And that's probably an early indication that you're going to see the downside tested, at least minimum moves down to, 59.5. And if that does break, then you're looking much lower, or at least I'm looking lower. You can look where the fuck you want to look. But yeah. And then daily time frame still up here as well. But again, pivot is at 62,950, which Bitcoin is a few ball sack hairs above as of this moment because we are on CME. So there's a premium over spot price action, currently trading about 300 bucks above. So, do be aware of that. Then again, maybe you have something like this going on right here. That'd be the more bearish view of that. So you'd be expecting Bitcoin to close below these pivots by end of day here, if that is going to come to fruition. Again, those just kind of edge the probabilities in favor of that. The big one for me, on as far as like the most pertinent price action to the downside would be it's closing tonight below 62,200. That would likely lead towards the former interpretation of Mondays as likely true, in the sense that Mondays for the past 2 months have marked just about the high of the week, if not the high of the week. In fact, basically it is always the high of the week, except for one time. So very, very interesting to me right there. Maybe it is interesting to you as well. Basically, Bitcoin above 63 does keep the Boo Laws hopium alive in the more near term. But still, I think that at earliest, if the Boo Laws are going to make a move here, that would be coming next week. This is the week of the Bears. So we'd be expecting them to push if they are indeed in control. So, all right, that's going to do it for me as of this moment. I'm going to go back to resting because that's what I do best right now. And as always, I want to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.